Okay, so here is the tortoise that I'm gonna try to draw for you guys. So start again. So again, important, these are the steps, right? Construction lines, simple shapes, contour lines, textures, details, okay? The first four are important: construction lines, simple shapes, contour lines, and textures. So looking at the tortoise, here's the shell, right? Kind of opens up here, his neck, his head. If you're looking at his head kind of lines up, not quite to the top of his shell, right? So these are the kind of proportions I'm looking for, right? So when I do this, all right, the top of his thing's here and it kind of goes downward. So his face is like right here, his neck is here, his leg kind of comes down. If you look at his thing, his head, his leg's a little bit, his foot, I should say, is a little bit forward of his head, right? So what I'm gonna do is, you guys see this, okay? His head's here roughly, his foot should be about like right here in front of his head. So one line, right? His leg is sort of down his other leg. So I'm gonna start drawing his other leg. His other leg is almost down on the ground, basically. He's not really, looks like he's kind of got that laying down. So I'm going to, here's his neck, here's his leg. I'm kind of looking up at the screen as I draw this. So, and then when I look at where his leg goes, his leg is almost halfway down his shell. So if this is the shell, right, his leg's gonna be like right here. So what I'll do is I'll put his leg right about here, right? And it starts here, so it kind of comes around and then it kind of ends like this. So again, we want to get all the proportions first, and then the shell is sitting on the ground. So, and then it goes like this, and it has this little thing that it kind of comes up towards, okay? And then his other side of his shell starts right at the back of his head, comes up over here like this, and then comes around and then swings around like that. Okay, so this is kind of what you need to start out with. This is the construction lines. Right now I'm starting to do simple, I kind of went into simple shapes already with his shell, right? Okay, when I look at his shell, looking at this, there's a flat spot right there, and it comes around and it goes in, right? So when I do this, it's kind of flat here, comes around, and then it kind of disappears and it ends up down here. And then he's got another little leg that's kind of sticking up there. And then this thing kind of goes around and comes up right here, and it overlaps with his shell like this. Okay, so it looks like it's, here, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So it kind of overlaps. You can see that overlap with the shell here, and then it kind of comes from the back, right? So now I have simple shapes. Sorry about the thing there. Okay, his head's here, kind of comes up here. His eye is way forward. It's almost at the end of his head. And then he just has a little nose, and then his mouth goes like this. His head is about like this thick, comes straight down like this and comes around this way. Has a little bit of a smile almost. His eye is pretty big. It's kind of like right here. It goes up and over and does this, and then comes down, and then the back of his head comes down right here into, he has all these like wrinkles. If you look at his head, he's got wrinkles all along here. I'm going to use those to help me make it look round. and he's got a little divot here. I think that's where he hears from, but I'm going to try to use all these contours. See that, those wrinkles, to make it look round, right? And these things, and then I'm going to start on the leg a little bit. Okay. Oh, and okay, so there's that, and then he's got this kind of wrinkle here. I'm constantly looking up at my screen, by the way. And here, okay, got his nose. That looks all okay. So this kind of goes up, and then he's got these pieces here. His neck kind of disappears here. Okay, so got his leg now. His leg is gonna come out right about here to his neck. It kind of goes out straight and then here. And then it kind of comes out this way, and then he's got part of his shell. It looks like a shell coming out there. He's got some skin there, and then this kind of comes forward. And then he's got these pieces here. His leg kind of comes out pretty far. I think it's the camera. And then it kind of comes out like this. In here, this is all pretty dark. So dark right here. Dark in here. Okay, so now he's got 1, 2, 3. Here, I'll show you guys this. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 toes in the front. Okay, so I'm going to start that. The front toe is almost directly underneath his mouth, basically. So I'm going to start that off again. So right underneath his mouth is right here. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then as it goes around, it gets thinner. And then this one goes here, and it goes kind of like this. And then this one's actually a little bit big. So do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay, so quick. And then he's got bigger scales. I'm gonna do this front leg a little bit, but you can see the scales are bigger here. They get smaller as they go down that way. And then it's got kind of this back and forth in here, right? So, and then there's a big wrinkle here. I'm gonna use all that stuff to try to make it look round. Okay, it's already kind of looking round by the way I've drawn it, right? But I'm gonna try to do that as I go up. So he's got a big wrinkle in here, and then it's okay. While I'm drawing, I'm actually not looking down. I'm actually looking at the screen, and it kind of goes back and forth. I'm just following it with my eye and trying to use my hand at the same time. Okay, so and then here's a big kind of drop in here. He's got these like little pieces that's probably a little bit too small, like this. And then this is where it kind of cracks, and then he's got these little guys in here, right? And then it kind of goes here. So rather than me doing this whole thing, it's probably going to take a few more minutes. I'm just going to try to go over the highlights. So again, his shell is kind of rounded, right? So I'm going to do this when I look up at the screen. It kind of comes around like this, and then he's got another plate that kind of comes up like this, and then he's got this like wiggly line that goes up and around, and then this guy kind of bumps up over, it kind of overlaps this guy, and then he's got another little piece there, and then there's another little piece that comes up over here. This is kind of a little bump. Ooh, that's not far enough back. So let's see, this goes up like this. Oh, I guess it is okay. It really needs to be a bit more like this. So, and then he's got this piece here. Again, these lines all help to find the shape. Watch this, because this, like this line here, it goes like this, and then it comes underneath, right? So it's kind of defining the shape. And then there's another one here that kind of goes like that and comes under the shape. All right, so you can kind of see there's the construction of it all, right? And now I can come in and sort of start doing his neck a little bit. It's real dark here, kind of. Again, I'm looking up constantly looking up. His mouth has this little bit of a thing like this, and then it goes up. And then there's a little bit of his nose. It's pretty high. Comes up like this. He's got a little bit of a thing where his eye is. And then this is his eye. I usually try to spend a little bit of time on the eyes because that's really what's going to attract your attention a lot is the eyes, right? So get a little more detail in there. All right. And then it's pretty black. So I'll do it all in and then I'll come back. He's got a highlight. His eyeball is pretty black, and then he's got a little bit of a highlight there, and he's got a little bit on the upper lid and the lower lid. See the highlights there? So I'm gonna leave it like that for now, and then I'm gonna come back. And where is my white Prismacolor? Here it is. So needs to be sharpened, but okay, so he's got a little bit there, he's got a little bit there, and he's got a little bit right. Oops, almost too much. That's okay. All right, so and then the feet, and of course I'd probably finish this up, but I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want you guys to start drawing stuff. This is where he's got his kind of ear thing right in here. It's a little bit darker up there. Okay. So feet. It's got his nail, one nail there, one nail here, comes down. He's got a piece of skin that goes around it like this, piece of skin that goes around like this. Man, he looks like a dinosaur. Okay, right in here, goes in like this. And then the scales. Okay, I'm gonna draw a couple of scales here. And one of the things too, you see how the scales here are thinner, right? And then they're wider here. Again, the thinner scales make it look like it's wrapping around. So I wanna make sure to kind of put that detail into my drawing. Okay, so there's a piece here. Now these scales are kind of thinner, wider here, wider here, wider here. And then he's got this big guy here, thinner here, thinner here. If you notice, I'm not lifting up my pen, right? I'm going, just keep going. Real thin there, thin, bigger, small one, and then these are sort of coming around this way, so now they're kind of coming this way, right? And then up around here, small one there. So I'm actually looking at every single scale and then kind of indicating as much as I can. And then as it comes up here, it actually doesn't turn so much. Okay, so kind of give you an idea of the scales. That wasn't too long. And then he's got this guy, and then the scale. This guy actually comes out like this, almost like a claw. And then this one kind of comes up like this. And then he's got this that comes up. So there's the leg. And then on the bottom part, you can't really see it, but it's kind of rough because of the scales. So, and then on this side, the scales go all the way up to here. All right, so sometimes I just kind of almost leave this like this. Maybe just a couple of indications now of scales as I go up, okay? Rather than, again, rather than spend too much time on this, I'd rather have you guys start drawing and then put these things in here. If you look, he's got these like little, I guess, wrinkles. So that's why I'm doing this, and it makes it, helps it to make it look round, right? So round like this. And let's see, another round one goes up like that. And so you can kind of see that it's kind of make it out by now, right? And then he's got more highlights here, highlights in this area, a little bit of a highlight in here. He's got some kind of highlight there, there, there. Okay, I'm gonna continue this, but I mean, the turtle is kind of there now, and then I know that this is really dark, right? I'm looking at this part of his shell is really dark, and then that part is really dark, and it's dark in here. So I'm gonna finish with this and have you guys draw it. So really dark kind of in here, dark in here, really dark in here, really dark in here, and really dark on the back side of his shell. Okay, so it's kind of what I have so far, and this kind of comes over, and he's got all these wrinkles in here that are just, oh, and then it's really dark by his mouth, kind of like right in there. His nose has got a dark spot, and this is all dark right in here. Oops, right in there, right in there. Again, constantly looking up at my drawing, right? What I'm drawing. And then this guy is kind of right in here, going in there. This goes in here. Okay? So I would do the same thing here, but you can kind of see that the turtle's kind of coming out now. And for his shell, I would do hardly any markering, just kind of leave it. I mean, he's got these lines here that I would put in, maybe that line, maybe these darker areas. So let's see, darker areas here, 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 just to kind of indicate. And he's got a shell, and then definitely darker in here, right? I can almost start leaving it that way now, and that's it. They just keep going with this. I mean, again, spend too much time on it. Come back probably with a number 4 here, because it kind of goes around underneath. So it's kind of a gradual piece, and I would probably spend a little more time doing his wrinkles, but again, I want you guys to draw. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna stop the recording.